gotten it. Oh, I just got it. We're good.
Nice. I'm going to be watching it when I bought you trust.
Yeah, I know I did.
Advantage 1 is reliability. Natural gas markets are misaligned with electricity markets because gas bills are determined once a day, but electricity demand changes minute by minute. This electricity gas mismatch threatens reliable electricity generation. Carter et al. 16. Natural gas system impact on reliability generators experience challenges depending gas and adjustment time. Research generators have migrated away from alternate fuel source and interruptions have been impact on power reliability issues originating from the fact that gas-fired generators have operated without an interruptible fuel source. Interruptible generators may not be able to schedule the fuel to operate pipelines will expand on the electric industry being to assign firm supply contracts generators use more gas and schedule. Sometimes pipelines have gas and time to recover for the next day. However, during maintenance outages or high demand pipelines have a limited ability to store demand. Pipeline operators use flow control shutoffs. Generators use gas in a different part of the operators. Pipeline operators determine gas based on 1/24th of its unit nomination shower. However, the ISO means peak load during the afternoon. Units may schedule gas for entire gas to burn total volume during only the afternoon. Pipelines have not been designed to handle imbalances. Sudden ramps and shutoffs cause pressure to vary, jeopardizing reliability challenges becomes greater as the wind are connected to generators are cold on the belts of all houses and generators are consuming gas is expected because of differences in timing. Gas market will slip between 8 and 9 a.m. prior to electric operating day. Generator must nominate capacity over the gas day. Nominations are scheduled by operators based on priority capacity and pressure on a one-day base cycle falling into timely and evening nominations for deliveries on the following day. Introductory nominations are for the same day timely. Nominations give customer assurance even bumping can occur. A customer with higher priority can force nomination to take precedence over a customer with lower priority. Nature becomes a win of loss support for additional fuel. For electric generators that manage to program this business, gas is relatively nomination to take prior during today. They're however some able to schedule gas leaves nomination based on very stale information. This slow and inflexible scheduling system, which occurs through a process called nominations, threatens cascading grid failure. John 23, the U.S. has a reliability gap between electricity and gas, one of the causing major grid outages in the past, and threats more habit to come. This two systems are more interconnected than everything is suffered 5 large-scale grid outages driven by failure of gas-fired power trucks is still left near 4.5 million power extreme, which storms used to be once in a generation. However, other use energy policy interdependence of gas and electricity has grown faster than the regulatory structure. The U.S. moves closer towards clean electricity. The country faces an urgent life-threatening problem. The system is set up for casting flames gas as a single fuel for power of the polar vortex and bulb frequency demand as supply outages events are accounted for in regulations. Cold weather cause freeze-offs. Compressor stations need electricity plants to be forced offline, creating chain reactions of failures. Power plant operators have trouble securing gas bad price prioritize heating over power firm and contracts can structure hour to hour because they've been misread from providers supply of average amount of gas over nomination cycles and electricity things are hourly when power operating stations need to ramp up gas consumption. There's over the hour their ordered hours go into nomination so match better coordination can go a long way towards improving efficiency. Hourly flows yield significant cost improvement, more reliable service and irrecoverable cyber attacks. Here's interest. 18. Commissions will visibility conditions the fuel security through cyber attacks impact availability, generation, life, visibility, pricing, challenges, ability to recover from cyber attack. Gas market needs to be updated. The resulting grid collapse causes extinction. CNA Advisory Board 15. Our dependence on power supply from grid digital comes our interest in every aspect of fuel systems to advance and tech can be access to electricity, military logistics, depend on reliable power, financial transactions, water supply, sewage treatment, transportation, air traffic, control, and healthcare require power, government, manufacturing, military. This goes on every aspect of our life. Backup generators are intended for just hours or days. Velocity since weeks backup will fail, resulting in chaos and social unrest will present overwhelming challenges. It's worse than if the Cold War when nuclear control 12. According to that power for once to be devastating back to bender fuel on fuel and hydrogen economy, those who lost human life, they would quickly see the worst Cold War nuclear scenarios and multiplies the risk of every other existential impact tech and burger and at all 21. Since electricity transition and industrial civilization will collapse, that if you might not recover civilization was entirely interdependent, the critical infrastructure collapse would drastically reduce humanity's capacity to coordinate and double attack to prevent existential risk, preventing an X risk. Cyber attacks are likely an existential monarch. 28. What if power company for electricity be irreparably compromised by cyber attacks and somebody presents an existential threat? The cyber criminal menace reach a level capable of catastrophic grid failure, and mutual parity of force, food scarcity, communication with seas, clean water, people, military, hospitals, and go to our financial transactions will stop this incentive. That the iceberg chaos with brain diseases would reemerge. Attacks already occurred. Recorded 650 million attempts to reach systems. Russia shut off power to thousands of Western Ukraine state may rely on not to attribution difficult. Cyber has on U.S. energy might circumvent U.S. troops on the battlefield in terms of cyber threat into an existential threat. Are we dabbling in a apocalyptic paranoia? Russia demonstrable and accurate executing large-scale attacks. Ukraine attack with sophisticated religious operations of malware. Ukraine is determining some for stores used against U.S., Russia, Iran, and North Korea are probing weaknesses in grid defense and causes nuclear war. Clear 19. Escalation of harassment. U.S. secretary has vital infrastructure. All major powers around and NOCO have several ways to disrupt grid attacks. Clear to widespread chaos and wants to initiate kinetic attacks and military target rising the silver slope to nuclear combat disorder. Generate impulse to new major conflict and nuclear war. The plan increases the frequency of nominations. That aligns grid gas markets by creating timeliness and flexibility pairs. Level 14. Rules are out to dramatically change circumstances, increasing demand for bidders, integration of renewables, developing more dynamic grid policy rates, achieving emissions of major shift, lower granular services commission can and should resolve the inefficacious market natural gas to enable rich operate dynamically and manage flow in real time and current for consumer non-redeeming possible business undercut liquidity synergistic market allows shippers to vary recipes overseas with non-readable flows and variable domains action to harmonize market creates better price formation, adding flexibility and market design, open access, and efficient price adding intraday cycles up to 12 cycles, improve flexibility and ensure reasonable price. The United States federal government should modify its natural gas market rules to include standards for non-readable shape flow transactions and an intraday nomination schedule with at least 12 standardized cycles. Advantage 2 is prices. The AI revolution in industrial manufacturing are turbocharging demand growth but high prices and limited generation capacity grants development. Walton 24. Utility payments without any price fight is shortly industrial onshoring and rising data centers upward pressure on prices. Price supply, turbocharging generation capacity, this may have been both for the future industrial onshoring, raising the U.S. manufacturing new generation capacity, and such a VP sustained need for capacity as a headwind. High electricity prices stunt AI growth and manufacturing. That loses the tech race with China. Loyola 24. Electricity becomes so expensive, you started waiting after industrialization, production costs soar, and ever such a revolution back investment, capital surplus with life down in single year energy, the cheap obstacle to manufacturing, decades of discipline advantage along with ability to industries that compete globally. America thus far. This current AI heralds a new age of tech dominance. Only America can get electricity prices low, keep by the price quote, it will for competition with China. China's prices setting will decrease China's industry quickly catching up to America. Maintaining the AI gap is key to prevent existential U.S.-China war. Gochen 1227. Competition zero sum for air premises, fundamentally competition of the world order, middle powers, risk getting caught across by the AI growth. Existential risk, global geopolitical convention, Chinese engineers have made their way out of U.S. constraints about shifting towards data centers, concerned about U.S. ability to wide enough lead will lead to frontier export controls, export restrictions, center, extraterritorial measures, Washington West trade, restrictions on Washington comes to believe the AI tech is closing, able to push for blood measures, blocking sanctions and draconian restrictions are concerned of Beijing might interpret this as existential. Creating conditions for tech workers bill into security China could respond with escalatory grace measures in Taiwan. Price signals are key to industrial strength. They're the most efficient way to match demand to supply pairs. Edo 14. Gas electricity is pointed out by our troops as inefficient greater clarity with fuel assurance is a key to overall reliability, polar vortex, recharge the synchronization, additional cycles are polar vortex, demonstrate transparency, price problems. Scheduling became increasingly expensive, so spot prices were 27 times the average gas fired resources had to be operated for a long duration that required much creating extremely high prices to target spike power prices above $1,000. Lack of opportunity impacts capacity result of real-time events, early nominations, spend efficiency without price signals, the market will not respond. Declining industrial strength causes extinction through deterrence failure. Johnson 24. The U.S. is no longer capable of deterring aggression and promoting stability for bad conditions and not lessen nuclear rhetoric to counter to which what help Russia's invasion prevented one section against Israel use and some other satellites with a control rhetoric. Question viability for deterrence and industrial strength we want to weaken industrial strength as fast what makes negotiating sanctions and military status effective without the industrial health. And for the hollow shift towards the commercial sector foster profits or overseas products to hold decline policies must encourage industry independently aligning markets makes prices transparent that enables efficient grid gas pipeline investments without stranding assets. 17. Our repairs and charcoal sales will be visible at control valves or capacity outbeing better distance isolate need. Arguing for years more pipeline construction is needed. Every source pulled out of construction pipeline proponents are using more prices based arguments of OPEX. Signals about the more exact value capacity revealed through frequent price figures definitely is actual script to want the right price signals about the better understanding of actual value. New England versus possible lock-in and stranded costs imposed on energy consumers for exact benefits and enable price transparency friction advanced flow of transactions. Robust pipeline expansion secures LNG exports. WEI 23. Ensuring space offers a way to self-sufficient security connected natural gas power generation. Robust pipeline capacity buffer supply chain signals. New chunks of infrastructure gaps are within critical artists pipelines and reduced import lines and installation from external sources increase national security. National supply demand stabilizing prices beneficial for predictable pricing essential for long-term economic planning growth control. Renewable energy usage is forecast to grow over 70%. Property need for natural gas is required. The expanding pipeline infrastructure programs that provide vital connectivity to LNG exports. Maintaining exports is key to Asian energy security. Elkins and Lynn 24. AIM essentially offered a powerful foreign pulse deliberations largest imported key odds are able to be a carbon circuits and natural applications use plays so critical energy security pulsing. Numerous reducing security to Japan plus control and Indo-Pacific security use of position to provide LNG exports to Japan. The increase in U.S. natural gas makes it viable and push Russian gas, natural gas, with strength in South Korea. Increase LNG supply importing from the U.S. so will not have to rely on Russia. South Korea is critical for trade and climate change. Allies rely to have the universal in nation states increase coercive power and put allies in vulnerable situation. U.S. can fill debatable strategy security balance and grow Washington policy to influence Beijing. Asian energy shocks cause great power conflict extinction. Clear 20. Events spread across the planet. They teach the United States simultaneously process and essential well-being of every country on the earth. Energy shortages, unrest, and conflict abrupt upheavals over development, including migration patterns of other countries. States fail intelligence that analysts $7 about global energy simultaneous world is highly rely on natural gas, including Japan and China. India demand is explosive climate shocks produce instant shortage of other world major nations. Help the national signal to resist generating tensions to conflict among mutual presidents. Collapse across a bit of catastrophic risk cascade. States are preempted. Riches 19. Bars dividing line to third with the laws preempted. FPA grants for authority over sale of electric energy, including wholesale, and any rule affecting such rates and states alone retail sale for directed demand results, recognizing action that mirror interacted by the retail core reverse and held for authority directly to rate page and demand responders because such directly affect the wholesale rate. Information is opaque without markets. They cause high prices, volatility, and misallocation that threatens extinction. Kane 17. Tech when also essential problem utilizing it for the central and collectible minds achieve greater intelligence according to the market central potential address solve the central problem competitive market process. The interpret relevant information simply having more data to start provide info about opportunity costs that multiple uses of resource savings central plan with that big committee went on form especially energy markets that are integrating which economies electricity to demand the solution was introducing more competitive market with prices, market product prices.
Okay, are you good?
Yeah.
I want to talk about the grid reliability advantage. What exactly does the plan do to promote reliability within the grid?
The plan increases the frequency of nominations, which is when the electricity generators communicate to natural gas pipelines how much natural gas they need. Because that is hourly, it means that unexpected events throughout the day can be accounted for, because within the next hour, electricity markets can request more natural gas.
Sure. So does it net increase the amount of LNG that's being pumped out to the grid?
It would mean that LNG is pumped out where it is needed. So like one of the issues now that creates high prices is that there is too much LNG being exported to some places and too little being exported to others.
I understand that it redistributes LNG, but does it net increase the amount of LNG to the grid?
Net to the grid, I guess I think you're asking the wrong question. Like, it makes it more efficient because LNG goes
I
where it
understand
needs to.
that portion of it. In terms of the impact, the Asia exports impact on the second advantage, why does it cause pipeline expansion?
Oh, I see. So, yeah, that's not necessarily to the U.S. grid, but that does mean that it would increase the business case for pipelines given that the need for LNG is identified in particular cases,
So it identifies the need that increases LNG. Why? You said that it doesn't, it just changes the efficiency. Why does that increase the number of pipelines that exist in the U.S.?
Because the reason why pipelines are not being invested in now is because the price signal isn't clear enough to determine that there is a scarcity of natural gas in particular places.
Okay, so the plan increases LNG, like the value of
It
LNG.
secures LNG exports to Asia, yeah.
Okay, the WEI
Well, like,
evidence...
to be clear, all that isn't effective for the plan. Not a-
Yeah, it's
Not
not,
Okay,
not
obviously.
like
The WEI evidence assumes Biden considering pauses on LNG. It opened new pipelines since then. Why isn't that sufficient to solve Asian exports?
Well, no, that's not not the only issue.
Well, it doesn't
Our
assume Trump.
debate evidence says that the issue, even if Trump invests in a bunch of pipelines, the issue is about efficiently allocating investments where they're
That's
needed.
not what the evidence says. It's about LNG exports writ large. The
Like,
reliability.
it mentions Biden at the top, and it's not just like Biden posed this issue.
Okay, the reliability advantage. How does the plan solve cyber attacks? I understand. Actually, what's the motivation for cyber attacks this well?
Our evidence says that Russia, Iran, and China are currently attempting to hack the U.S. grid to gain a power advantage.
The Karasin-Perez evidence, the internal link, is from 2018. There have been so many outages referenced in your evidence since then. Why didn't Russia attack when Hurricane Helene happened and collapsed all of North Carolina's grid?
Our impact increases the risk as more cyber attacks occur. Obviously, this is not yes/no, but our evidence also says that extreme weather is getting extremely bad, which makes the grid vulnerable. Cyber attacks are intensifying because Russia has been able to train their cyber
I understand.
technology in Ukraine, so they're improving
But why
their
haven't
attack.
any of those attacks?
Are you seriously asking why haven't our impacts happened?
Yeah,
yes,
I am
they're
asking that
getting
because you're reading
worse.
evidence from 2018.
Well, yeah, but our impact evidence says that Russia's cyber attacks are getting worse over time. Warming is getting worse, or extreme weather is getting worse over time.
Okay, 1 and 2 sent. Sticks off, then prices, then reliability.
Use mine if you want.
Usually I can't use someone else's.
I got some more dynamic. Except for that. I'll say it's like 8 years old.
Yeah.
Something dog.
I'd give water and bananas versus
That tracks. I'm good by the way.
Okay.
I'm also good. Sorry, you said prices reliability.
Yeah. Okay. Serena's good.
Yeah.
Dartmouth's good. Okay.
First time Topicality, we guys were place the after place of price on carbon out outside market based in finance report and inputs of price and change sheets either directly via tax or negatively via capital go never limits and grounds any other term opens the floodgates so it's a small subsidy trade adjustment after our brokers the topic on the foremost ABI proposals and controversies T industry policy. Adopting a clean energy policy requires means congressional action that Rhode Island 92 Supreme Court General Assembly should determine after prior to enact legislation and Schultz and 5 the Constitution establishes the branches that agencies are necessary to carry out functions. Government and Congress have the power to establish policy and the 3 branches over establish a deal with broad issues on the minutiae of government with negative limits and grounding, expanding past legislation, leading thousands of cases and permits manipulation of time frame rollback and evades core generic states. The 50 states relevance of national aggregation modifies natural gas market rules include standards on non-ratable shape flow transaction intraday nomination schedule. These 12 standardized cycles. 50 states relevance of national aggregation including national government associations to their cooperation and the administration of federal programs until the United States government modifies natural gas market rules to include standards on non-ratable shape flow transaction intraday nomination schedule with at least 12 standardized cycles. Account competes and solves like the case by leveraging state influence that spills over, expanding dual sovereignty in the face of Trump. The plan statutory unwinds some of Jeff Preslin in 24 states and the administrator Morgan states and influence on national implementation reshape programs on form private federal and national minorities become the local majorities. The argues concrete, well functioning practical examples of well as interlocking years can profit amount. I got more useful in commandeering foreclosed attempts of force states and active policy anti-coercion equals opportunity restricting and capacity regular examples of the tip of the iceberg defining excessive federal government doctrines way to press the rearranging Trump's second challenge to democracy and Democrats' tax instead of dual sovereignty ensure the flexible regulatory ecosystem necessary to check countless acts under threats else Trump's locks in and disease nuclear war and accidental wording check Weiss 22 check take the world from disaster to from climate nuclear war pandemics the means of controlling from these road we have remove guardrails unfortunately people think about protection authoritarian garbage help the liberal monarchies who need innovation but not on their own also need institutions with top to bottom of state local governments that directly respond to public pressure ideas and inspiration public opinion and advocacy and enable any limits on innovations leading nuclear war to control AI continue to represent the engineering which involve great risk institution and strengthening its tall order nevertheless face starts successfully before the Cold War and major innovation will help bottom up codes and ordinance chambers to make their way into the formal legislation into which the governments combine forces across borders to deal with the issues the national government training facility cooperate providing obligation to be cumbersome slow more practical security. Securitization legitimates politics, professional security, locks of environmental governments, but negative to legitimate the one AC rupture. The securitization environmental market-based issue of 22. States lack wherewithal to grapple with environmental security, outsourcing jobs, off responsibility, allocating material, and manage material ecology while refining ideological architecture. They utilize securitization and control private management and security through governmentality, colonialism, and economic liberation, security, and discourse of both threats, and data risk management, environmental governance, securitization, that means liberation, alternative establishment, foster equitable products, relying on merchant, and radical conservative security, impact, and normal structure, security, disciplines, acceptance of the market approach, embracing the procedures, defining audience, plays a pivotal role in accepting, negotiating, or contesting legitimacy, governance, legislative, fortune, alternative discourse, subject, and all talking, struggle, can overcome their counter narratives, confronting the symbolisms of security and power. The K must come prior critical theory, not problem solving best. Addresses the climate problem, chart 20 problem solving versus critical theory. Open up the possibility of different sector creating alternative international climate politics, economic aspects of problem solving, rational to explain trading climate change, markets, remain more element conception of the biotic world, like holistic perspective as a very deeper engagement problem with helping fix limits or reduce a problem to eliminate variables. Critical theory goes a step ahead and understand implications of this framework of politics. Tax cuts passed now, but it's heavy lift, Michael. 130 expiration tax cuts prior to political imperative for Congress to act programs we use to reconcile similar orders to balancing political have action any member could be the package would be heard more likely where more the EU can work with and generational economic empowerment include corporate tax cut less likely Trump's project fails as something reform did in 2017 PC's key Mascaro 19 Johnson's keys as the quarterback and Trump and the coach calling placing legislative priorities to Republicans setting on starting training to sort out difference if no time to waste more confidence that to speak is hard to be new term reconciliation difficult and time consuming process that can fall apart at any moment climate finds below of the gender domain 25 Johnson's a little on climate with Johnson under pressure with our conservative speakers on energy climate no doubt it's a big thing on is Johnson or Roman Tribe with green spending attack on energy action environmental regulatory standards mandates have been made feeling more expensive Johnson promised to blow the short regulatory tax cuts are key to space colonization Washington and 24 policy get effective commercial ways adversely Trump various tax cuts better still growth and creation that Congress would have passed tax commercial companies but not have money to be able to build rocket ships and lunar launchers lunar landers NASA depends on the commercial space sector launch companies lower the cost of launching and orbit administration consensus tax increase or have well funded space equitable planetary colonization movements extinction order 21 becoming multiplanetary I can protect the human race and 1 to 1 6 chance of ignoring extinct this century long term with accidental asteroids volcanic eruptions and stellar explosion human creating risk of nuclear war bioweapons that all of us go to once with establishing model outputs risk of being destroyed from enabling the curtail of a class out of significant accidental data diversifying the most effective mitigation strategy next stop privatization. The United States Commission of Balls more energy market-based instruments intervention backfires distorting the market. The economy unleashes trillions in the private sector against before. Carbon activist scattered policy must be protected. The economy is already suffering from 3 trillion alien interrelated restrictions on free market capitalism and low government deferment tax and expanding government obligation favor certain regulation methods over the disrupting the level playing field. Eliminating individual distortion picks orders of losing favor specific methods because taxes can be counterproductive amount to be to the wrong distorting economic activity reaction and hustle higher prices of goods and and nature undermining environmental result in the global competitiveness economic realities. Purpose is a flawed approach and said we should focus market different solution current innovation on imposing heavy-handed regulation. Market efficiency solves the case through renewable uptake and subsidy reforms, spilling over, and energy security grid safety kings would be. Efficiency advantage compared to state-owned enterprise profitability, efficiency boosting technology and energy productivity to the benefit of the transition to private ownership back to renewable energy, increase investment, increase access to financing and output, encourage innovation, tech advancement, renewable energy, increase efficiency, and lower costs of regulatory framework, reduce barriers to entry, can lead to improvement energy security, promoting investment, new infrastructure, make it easier to integrate into good adoption of renewable energy, first reduce dependence on the foreign gas, we outputs rate natural extinction, Holstein 20 actors that do biodiversity, resulting in death and mass break and undermining immediate deterrence that against energy warrants ability to have global state directly targeting infra knock-on effects to energy alone, the typical toward wider war crisis. First turn turns a stable now on the brink. The future emergent breakthroughs under my first strike stability, collapses, stability, jobs. 24. The order changing non-nuclear capabilities on auto-cover by the type of arsenal play by rapid events ensures the state's all common due to fact rate. This face so far, so more for less survival. Drill to brutality, select reliable enough now to travel the future of the driver decision today. The only form of stability rely in first strike anything on mind stability. Concede that the high electricity prices stunt AI growth in the plane. Maintains AI gap, AI innovation uniquely under my second strike guarantee miscalculation right to the bottom of the terms of case now. And obviously 22 AI also risks stability. Speed of decision making based automation bias over trust and complex system increased risk. Various automated DW systems. AI is brittle as a result of malfunction which affect competence secretary AI delivery problems, spoofing cyber technical facilities integration non-conventional system military command lead to miscalculation and acceleration reduces ability by introducing new threats, increasing unpredictability of speed, encouraging competition, US pursuing integration AI now trims away force rates about increased accidents and decision stability caps arms racing to resolve nuclear escalation maturely. And 24 new complex increase that of a nuclear escalation in direction detect raising concern leaders last half result in nuclear officers nukes into regression because of retaliation ability obtains when states and nodes in the first strike second strike this one as states retaliate through NC3 stability relies on acidity escape free or change sides or confident innovations make others feel less secure in new systems regarding the element leading to racing capabilities infiltrating NC3 opens avenues for espionage prolif info war 2 1 is zero hand limits all causes 0 the industrial 6 insert yellow what
Could go like that.
manufacturers not key to the dip, cable 10, project production, Germany's economic trends, and less on less digital analysis, military cultural Germany, and Germany's economic superpowers cannot merge superpowers promise. Also more than economic trade in Africa is not led any would to any decline in providence use rates of reading. The shift to economic facility the use investment not to be prostrate. The country of the US can disconnect is not an indication or whittle down predominance that China seems comfortable with the US power of the 21st century would be. And second, Americans century 6, their internal link evidence about Biden's LNG pause, which thumb 7, there's no uniqueness for the internal link. Asian renewables that displace LNG now while cheaper sources solve Reynolds 24 from Japan is falling. And Japan is still good with the US struggle with cheaper suppliers that are buyers are not European, they are traders. Japan peaked in 2040 renewable increased remedies on more LNG that's very so good for all 20% renewable space LNG and zero targets in November. China US exports account for 4% share South and Southeast Asia exporters struggle to wrestle market share for Australia cut relation due to low cost, no energy security impact flare. It's about global energy security sites 0 warrants methane's relevant param. 23 methane low hanging fruit is a foster grabbing methane 80 times as potent. Market card potent what?
Just go to the next.
Want to see the technique includes quote solids gas rank and
Reliability
inserts
of
yellow.
damage,
Reliability. Want to see Johnson's largest concern related to failures and accurate forecasting. The tech to coming the plan does not exist. Insert the rehighlighting 2 ongoing transition solves Reynolds 24 a diverse energy missing carbon free renewables generates 20% power taxes and more than when electricity in the state cloud more the same power through transition clean energy with products with backouts the numbers already look over the most cutting cost 3 numbers are infinite out is double those past 20 years. Texas, Katrina, Helene for the grid is was only cracked 24 the US grid extremely large comprised over 6,400 power plants on 450,000 miles. Transmission makes it very difficult to affect whole grid at once. Most plants are protected by security very difficult on her involvement most of the outside inside are safe. And the only threat comes the inside because accidents over last recently attacks in Washington, North Carolina have become more heavily concerned it's not feasible to take down the whole grid size of protection. The chance of one event removing power from the power from the country is very small. Cyber defense. Attacks are over happening frequently tonight. John Hansmeyer 23. Historical scholarship sees the risk of the right with Russia, Ukraine, supporting this bill as the rights were attacks to one important bill to add up cyber wars to the Ukraine and cyber origin and eliminate cyber Russian cyber committee because it's a 54 news websites. Yet the impact was still minimal war requires scale and cyber attacks will shorter scale out as risk to regularly. There's a sense that cyber somehow different and clear disconnect between actual cyber works by scholars and practitioners for a decade.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Status is conditional?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the security critique. So the alternative is like critical theory is the best for addressing the climate problem. What is the bridge between critical theory and actually solving the problem?
Well, we think that the critical theories are prerequisite. We need to desecuritize the 1AC. We need to interrogate the way that we've constructed the problem of climate change.
Okay, and is there a distinction between in what way do you think the critical theory would disagree with the internal use of the 1AC?
I don't know if it would disagree with like the or like the internal links, but we would disagree with the way that you've constructed the threat of like grid collapse, of energy security.
Okay, so we should not construct grid collapse or energy security as threats?
Well, I mean, we don't think that we should construct it the way that 1AC did.
Okay, then how should we?
Serena?
Well, our argument is not that like the plan is necessarily a bad idea, but it's that the representations frame its implementation, right? So our argument is that securitizing rhetoric results in things like zero-pulse failure, etc. All of these
You're not
things
really
turn
answering
the
the question
app.
about the link.
And so we think that we should omit that form of rhetoric that we read links to.
Okay, that's fine. The grid, so the impact to this market efficiency thing on the ban MBI's counter plan is like, it's important to resolve grid safety and energy security. You've also then read defense to the grid on case. Do you think there's like a distinction?
It's not-
So, to be clear, did not read a terminal impact to grid, but obviously that means that it solves the case, so it solves advantage 1. We read a terminal impact to energy security, and we read internal link defense to your stuff, and we've said that only we access
Okay,
the top
sorry.
three.
It's not
Okay,
a
so
blackout.
you're-
It is very
The
distinct
internal
from
link is
what.
just to energy security?
What? No.
Well, we
have
have
internal
internal
link
to
all of
grid.
those
We have
things.
not rated impact to grid.
We did not
on
read
it.
a
Yeah.
terminal impact. It is a solvency claim for the 1AC. It's a insurance case claim.
Okay, I see. Well, I guess I'm just kind of confused because your impact is about like disrupting, targeting infrastructure, and
That's the
causing
impact to an energy crisis. That is not
which
the
seems to be
internal.
relevant to the grid.
No.
thing,
In the targeting infrastructure line in that paragraph is is an impact to an energy crisis, and not internal.
How does the loss of energy security cause that?
The loss of energy security invites
That seems about to be about
aggression.
the grid. Okay. And then. Okay. The tax cuts dissad. Why does the plan involve PC?
Yeah, the domain evidence says that regulatory mandates require both Johnson and Trump to get Republicans behind it, which requires them to use
It
PC.
says they're calling plays on their legislative priorities. Where have you read evidence about FERC?
It says the regulatory state. We think that the regulatory state necessarily involves coordination with Congress. We'll
Do
read
you
links
think
about
they
agency.
have to convince to use the plan?
I mean, we'll read links to like
Okay.
agency action.
Okay. Reliability, prices. And then adopt MBI, states ban security politics. Am I dropping something? You sure? I think you said 7 out loud, but then it was 6. Oh.
I thought you said 6.
Oh, maybe I wasn't listening. I don't remember. That's also entirely possible.
Can you? So after TMBI, what is it? No.
To adopt TMBI, states ban security politics.
Okay, cool.
That should be good. Here, set, wait.
Oh, actually.
My read monitor was broken. This is so sad. Okay. EC's good. Emory, you good?
Yeah.
Cool. What is it? Why the plan solves forecasting? It's forecasting about energy demand, which is impossible in the status quo because you cannot match hourly electricity demand to daily energy supply. When this issue is green transition rate renewables cannot be uptaken now because they're intermittent, so we need LNG to back them up. When C3 is grid numbers, outages, drive cyber taxes, socially issues when out. Why has your impact happened? Which is a novice question. Our evidence that the cyber taxes are getting worse in Russia is using Ukraine as code sharpening stone for larger attacks against the US. When C4's resiliency, their numbers demonstrate that the grid is not resilient and there are gaps in the status quo because of intermittent demand and inability to match energy markets to electricity demand. When C5 is cyber defense attacks not hide the modern evidence says that Russia is increasing cyber attacks to Ukraine, Russia and Iran are all probing the US grid. The impact evidence is that unleashes a parade of horrible societal adaptation, all accidental risks, and it's like if the Cold War went nuclear, price advantage. 1 and C1 is the turn. 1, China AI development is inevitable. If their argument is true, the score will erode U.S. second strike, which is equally destabilizing. 2, no road to second strike. China has a handful of nukes. The Soviets have like 10 for forever. The U.S. could undermine second strike, so it is empirically denied. 3, AI gap does not prevent China from integrating AI into their nukes at all. Their impacts are just about the existence of AI. And 3 and 4, why would anyone let AI control their nukes? Obviously, that is irrational. 5, no AI is calculable. And 18, most systems transform nuclear strategies that no attack or reinforced rather than ultra system nuclear weapons seconds from non-for conservative use military still use while being autonomous systems have critical limitations that make adoption on the systems operate like practical society that seems to offer critical development. Testing should be confident that the tech is not in the stage where it would allow since incredibly that the survivability, second strike capability, the light of the development that is about to remain very theoretical. 6, it guarantees second strike, which is stabilizing Johnson. 22, algorithms are improve accuracy and precision, improve resiliency and survivability. Platforms against counter-pressure such as cyber AI would remove vulnerabilities. They reduce severe decapitation, especially in Russia, India, Pakistan, and China. Autonomy might also strengthen second strike and support escalation management. 7, states will over-rely on AI. That's the content right above. 8, their studies are academic junk garbage. 21, many science suggestion that emerging technologies are inherently disruptive and dangerous seems to be an image rather than output of analysis. Little attention is given to the fact that benefits may be available. EDGs are characterized as destabilizing without explaining how or why. Others seem to assume there's one agreement, but there is not. 1 and C2 is O'Hanlon didn't read it. 1 and C3 is manufacturing act the dib. It is the background of capable response during wartime. Our evidence is from 2023 and more qualified than theirs, which is decades old. 1 and C4 by an LNG pause was a reverse, but construction of pipelines is not profitable in the status quo because of market demand mismatches. 1 and C5 no export collapse. Yes, they exports will collapse. It's irrelevant if they totally collapse because they will go down significantly because there will be a solid amount of pipelines because there's not market demand for them. 1 and C6 HS independent LNG demand is still high. Transition thumbs third disapps, but our evidence is they need LNGs intermittent to plug gaps and renewables and currently have to get it from Russia. 1 and C7 is no impact. Yes, impact and historically escalated war, which is clear. He's extremely qualified and provokes lash out from leaders and a weakened societal adaptation. All existential threats, methane and flaring were not in the 1 and C. T. Adopt. 1, we need because first authority comes from statute. For noted, the commission's authority comes from the MPA, the NGA, and other statutes by the Congress. 2, adopt can be Congress or courts. 1, 20 argument regarding the amendment of enactment adopt is not first thing, only to a legislative body, not of the courts. Executive agencies are empowered by the legislature to adopt rules or regulations, policies, or decisions by the public actors. 11, policy governs the enactment of wealthy governing bodies, such as definitions are unnecessarily narrow. All policies cover key defense, all policies, commitment to course of action policies, not a restrictive form allowing this is synonymous with a decision made by public actors. There, clean card says the legislature can adopt clean policy and not that others can. 3, over limiting courts and regulate counterparts become unbeatable. Nobody ready about FBI has agent defenses for debates. This is a rare topic that does not suck because it is an agent counterparts in politics. Making it 1, trades off with substantive debates about growth, markets, K, energy mixes out, all of which guarantee net ground. 5, debatability. There are cards as adopt excludes enforce, which means the app always loses their Trump circumvention. 6, intensifying their cards or contextual definitions from random court cases arbitrarily. Limiting the app cannot predictably guide traffic conservation T over substance. 7, reasonability. Vote after a topic is functional, rejecting us that mean a reasonable topic is not predictable, so they inevitably will be prepped by both sides and cancel their offense committee against shift the goalpost and replace substance. T, FBI. 1, counter-sharp MBIs encourage behavior through market signals. That includes market friction reductions and market creation, like the plan statements. 1, definition of MBIs encourage behavior through market signals, harnessing market forces by way of contrast. Committed control, allow little flex on market friction reduction service, MBIs. An example is the electricity restructuring motivated by economic concerns by bringing the environmental impacts, the energy policy out of lab. Companies to sell to utilities to encourage competition. These have environmental implications or whatever degree substitutes for more polluting energy. The overall effect may be environmentally beneficial. 2, predictability statements, academic consensus, unpredictable limits can change. Prep and punish off-topic research, all 22. According to consensus academic community statements, instruments are commit based in MPIs. Moselle is contextual. Moselle all 10 in this context. 3, creativity. Cap and trade is terrible. Subset sounds fake, but it is all sectors solved by states. Going to be all tax and trade is key to navigate the topic. Compelling and drive continual research. 4, thematic coherence. The app is unified by markets good. The net gets counterplanning critique objections to markets that are excellent. 5, air app next are crushing on states, politics, markets, K, and energy mixes sad. 6, reasonability comes back from the other flows. States. The state plague. 1, Duval shows net benefit because it's perceived as fall. 1, 2, Orleans net benefit if no one knows how to show up for a course, will tie it to them anyway. 3, preemption. Any state policy that indirectly affects wholesale electricity gets struck down that switches. They can only regulate production and gathering, which is not the plan, which is 19. Preemption of excessive running line. How they can't or requiring interstate power to purchase gas for ratably was about division of for exclusive jurisdiction. The regulatory scheme left no room for either state regulation or wholesale natural gas. The law is the state carver for production and gathering. 4, state common are illegitimate. Doesn't mean burden or return because it's not an opportunity cost. Federal policy actors don't choose between state and federal action. 5, uniformity bad, not grounded in literature and discourages lit and means you said a low threshold for preemption. 6, conditionality is bad. The true AC never invests in the best counterplan issues because they create no cost of negative. You can only get the on other pages that incentivize in-depth counterplan research and clash on both sides. Choice, education, dispo, church, easy choice. You can kick away perm. The National Governance Association blank 1, uncertain cost of price volatility because it looks like the result of a long drawn out separation of power strike. Getting it all 21 national gas market is complex. The uncertainty going complicates prices any increase in investment and consumer behaviors have a significant effect on liquidity, trigger volatility, uncertainty related to economic policy, least price changes. 2, to the counterplan that adopt the plan's nomination adjustments not intrinsic because as the time under the counterplans process is not separate because of mandates, the plan and should not immediate enable 20 future use them should express the voices because it's a good idea. We're talking about action in the future. Pattern is subject to should the precedents for 3 do both 4 delay is bad. Every second counts because our impacts are coming to half fast in the status quo. 5 say no. The FERC would just say no because the preemption cards are run on the other page. 6 do the counterplan. 7 do the plan the counterplan for something else. Applying the counterplan's action to a new object is limited and test remain opportunity cost, which locks in end-up debating with absence of cards. 8 counterplan fails because 17. Preemption blocks say law leaving without effect of your say laws are truly from override states are truths are which they ignore Congress has little reason to subjugate its interest to the states whenever the two conflict the states in the lobby, but no one is explained why the majority will listen when they go would require would sacrifice its own objections to courts and force. Not second guess or consistently maintains and believe say law must give way out. Congress has no reason to sacrifice its own policy. 9 governmental bargaining is a possible hug. 17 working over regulatory entitlements without some structure through which states coordinate always bargaining to get off the ground and best meaning in a worse absurd due to it is one thing to say the states can leverage on others to say they can threaten to forego programs and promote goals to prevent some other law that governors would not incredibly claim they would close their schools let the top water flow with that or allow crimes to start withdrawing against a bargaining chip, marked up bargaining chip, 10 no spillover, red and blue states will not start to cooperate, polarization is baked in, 11 no impact states control it, red states controlling shit is bad and solving problems is not an impact, 12 not a dissent to the plan because FERC has exclusive authority and their card is an advocate for the perm because it says joint cooperation is good. The counterplan. 1. Plan doesn't destroy the market and makes it efficient. Their quotes are about carbon tax. 2. Perms. A. Do the plan and plan all other clean energy MPIs. B. Do the counterplan. The development plan is an amendment to the counterplan's ban. C. Do the plan and ban all other environmental regulations described their evidence. 4. Or D. Do both. Perms don't need to be topical. Anything else justifies offsets and things out of normal means. This counterplan is academic garbage, which means that you should reject it on face because it's not saying that the plan is bad. 4. Their impact evidence says market solutions good and regulations are bad. 5. Can't solve uptake one of the grid without shape nominations. That's case. 6. The plan solves the terminal. Concede the energy security impact takes out the defense of the case. Critique. Links must be to the plan. They can be about ideology, informing market mechanisms, not random reps, and the one he calls self-critical education, but otherwise picks which were the basis of a fair game. The case true disproves their impacts is number 2. Number 3, do both. 4 are scenarios are part of the liberalism of fear and consequence of Russian energy dominance, challenges securitization, lands 11. At first glance, equal securitization, we're going to inhibit securitization, liberalism of fear is an anti-utopian, is a world where violence will remain ineradicable, facing up to the worst things that humans have done do and trying to avoid them. This is suspicious of grand moral vicious focus on humanity's capacity to feel fear helps us to preserve from danger and fears out concentration of power that institutionalized cruelty, fears for directing the state's role in provision of social goods, but it alerts the state's potential to the opposite. 5 per con, they said, securitized impacts on other patients, which proves how often on framework. 6, no link to climate security, we did not read a climate extinction impact. 7, security, good deal, and a loader, and walk on 17. One can say refugee critique of securitization will live together and securely with threats and international collective security officers. The best conduit there is for giving meaning to the idea of the public good, for reimagining social democratic politics, for renewing politics. The democratic state is for sure while the state is performing solidarity vital to the protection of secure political communities, market secure political communities. Politics. 1. Thought by multiple past FERC actions. 2. FERC shield that is too complicated and garners no attention. 3. Is Emory serious? There is no internal link. Their evident link is plainly officially about Biden tax increases being bad. Those won't happen. 4. States cause impossible companies having more money. But that doesn't solve that there is no oxygen on Mars and other fundamental obstacles. We've already poured billions in. 5. No reconciliation tax reform. So much for 1. 3. Tax on major topic for 2025 for Alaska. Take effect. Let's go through 3 critical steps. Republicans, the majority will mean that making passage challenging passing tax lawyers. They little room for error. Lawmakers dealing with kind of schedule pressing issues. Going to lay progress on a lot of tax changes. The Republicans will use reconciliation taxes will be hard. They can take until late 2025. I'm going to read this no link card. No fee. 17 troubles they could ask. Look for to lead the FERC, the energy over the agency oversees the grid. There is no controversy upon the movement of the lots of evidence. It should have drawn a lot of public discussion. Late Supreme Court. That's going to attract a lot of attention. Going to be more polling discussion about how you allocate transmission costs. People don't man the barricades. No impact to space colonization. Again, just generally solving problems is not an impact, and it is far off, which means it's the case that wastes on time.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I want to start on topicality. Stavin says that reducing market friction is topical. What does that mean?
Reducing market friction is increasing the number of market signals that are sent per.
So any app, any plan that does a market signal that's like related to clean energy policy, obviously, is topical.
Well, like, yes, but it's not just like anything that could tell the
why?
invisible hand of the market something additional. It is
Why?
like, because the plan mandates a change to market signals because it mandates an increase in the interactions between the energy
your
suppliers and
interpretation is
electricity.
anything that reduces market frictions is topical. Like
Yes.
even if the plan might seem like it's like a direct, that doesn't mean that it just that your
Well,
interpretation
we still
is
don't
not
think
allowed.
that we don't think that effects topicality is allowed. So like,
Well, your interpretation affects topicality.
no, it isn't because of the reason that I just explained to you, which is like the plan is an example of a mandate of giving more information to the market.
So anything that provides more information to the market is a market signal.
Well, anything that coordinates, like mandates coordination between two market actors.
Okay. Case, both advantages. You said the answer to like renewables now is that they're intermittent and that natural gas is key.
Yeah.
Like obviously these companies know they're intermittent. That's why they develop batteries. Like why don't those solve?
Well, I don't think that you've read a good card about batteries. All of our
Oh,
evidence
sure,
says
it's just
that
like a true argument. Like renewables use batteries
It-
because they're intermittent.
the
Like,
fact
why do
that
batteries fail?
you think you've just solved the renewables problem is like an interesting push from like Maxwell 25. But our evidence says that companies perceive renewables as intermittent. Their battery development is not far along enough in the status quo. And also, the other argument about the AF is that it prevents like outages in one area from spreading to other areas, which is distinct from the like
Wait,
renewables.
why is that true?
Well, that is true because when one area has like an extreme weather event, for example, they can demand more the like electricity demand since it is hourly instead of daily, and they couldn't predict it at the daily rate. When like the natural disaster hits, they can like the next hour they can demand more.
So we have blackouts that are like a whole day instead of just like a few hours. Like,
No,
what
we
is the
have
impact
blackouts
differential?
that are less than an hour instead of several days.
Wait, okay, so like weather storm hits one segment of the grid.
Yeah.
They lose power. But now because they have natural gas that is like hourly determined if like they need natural gas or whatever, then there's no longer a blackout that hour or like that day. Like I don't understand.
Well, there is no longer a blackout at all, right? So like when there is a day-long blackout, that causes then the next day that area demands a significant increase in electricity, and that detracts it from other places.
Politics,
versus if it was hourly.
2014. Like I don't. What does this get you? I was confused.
Well, like I didn't read that card, but like your argument cannot possibly be that the FERC has never done anything, or has never done anything about clean energy or natural gas.
Argument is that FERC action now causes fights. It does not mean that like the FERC's never.
Yeah, except that you have not actually read a link card to that effect. And the FERC has taken plenty of actions while tax reform has been on the table.
10 start.
DC, you have the blue highlight column, sorry.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the docs yet, so.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that'll be resolved by the current doc.
Yeah, okay, great.
Okay, stop. Use 718. 42. Use the bathroom. Okay, sure.
Wait, sorry, what just happened?
242. Make sure my
Yeah. Is it plugged in?
Yeah, that's what I checked.
Do you think Taylor's gonna win the Grammy?
Who?
Taylor.
I'm not top on the grade. Probably
Really?
not. Like, not really.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't really like, TTT very much.
Really?
I liked it okay, but like, I think there were too many misses.
Oh,
It
fair.
was too long.
Yeah, it's hard not to have misses on a 2 hour long album.
Yeah, that's fair.
Riley, do you think Taylor's gonna win the Grammy?
Yeah. She's from Nashville.
She was from Pennsylvania.
Well, she's not
Yeah,
technically.
she is from Pennsylvania.
She lives in Nashville.
It's true.
She's a Nashville transplant.
Yeah. Everyone in Nashville's a Nashville transplant. Just bachelor and bachelorette parties. That's it.
I'm trying to remember.
In frat form.
Yes.
Yep.
And a few locals, so that's it.
This banana sucks.
Oh, I kinda needed to.
Oh, I listened and we probably. No, dude. Which is worse.
Really?
I'm from Missouri, yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Okay, I sent the truancy. I'll give it a grade. Actually, can you check if I sent the no truancy?
Yeah.
Just on the computer.
Oh, and there's
Okay, I did. So I thought I said wrong too for a second.
so much Dartmouth. We had 3 Afrons were starting at the Georgetown. And this is our second year up we're starting with you.
Sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. We're great.
I think each tournament we just like pick a side and debate all Dartmouth on that side.
Yeah, fair.
The order is the politics ascent, the prices advantage, the reliability advantage.
Right.
Okay. Is everyone good? It's hard to get off the rock. I think becoming multiplanetary species can check a linear other inhabitable existential events as the root evidence will also literally intentional produces the asteroids eruptions, star explosions, and deadly these rapid up every risk interval. Risks are only solving colonization global 20 lists of access central risk and the settlement society can provide refuge items to invest in threatening extermination of service. A great asteroid hit any time eruptions, near the word pandemic, great apocalypse. It's structurally trying to deny the one and see root evidence is a risk of extinction. This century is one and safe and analytical colonization impacts impossible. It's not an answer to the descent of the one and see root evidence. The 2 is Holland in 25 colonization is possible, even starting in the small mass reduces accidental risk, which is the root evidence is significantly that creates positive people who have innovation that overcome all barriers. Root of 21 habitation in a great variety of settings and rapidly expanding science and commerce, which scale industry requires presence so that other celestial locations have the innovation solar system can accommodate many more people who say creativity is incredible and incredible inspiration, natural adaptation, novel gene editing tools for biological breakdown, post-colonization, learn, and then 21 colonization, accelerated evolution, factors like radiation, gravity, and you can prompt them watch changes of values so that there's transferred on the planet remaining within the conditions might speed up evolution populations. The developed characterizations help them deal with high altitude radiation can provoke mutations, increasing mutations can also restore seal section and the favorite sort of the test around facilities are resistant to UV rays and advances in nitrogen tools like daily cursor identify genes before observing powerful source to make people survive. The moon is an easy oxygen to 19 using a litter race to worlds beyond small moon concerning every fueling station like oxygen and oxides limited. They can be reduced to water and the recycled less reduced hydrogen and recycled back into iron oxygen where constitutes 75% of total carbon process rates. Become the simpler only electrolysis is required and Mars is possible. 19 exclamation point the board of God is a true quality because self-supporting Mars is tremendous advantage because it needs all elements to support the life and natural civilization. Now the next segment in the 2C is no link. They've dropped the thesis of the link in the 1AC, which means if we win any connection, the Fergus testifies in Congress mean the means they have to be a negative climate to oppose the destroys the agenda. The plan causes Johnson to go back on his promise that eliminates the perfect grid energy and eliminates passive orbital regulations, which triggers a rebellion for fire conservatives to debate evidence pass. Berg action cannot thump the data job because the only thing that is relevant now is passage of the DCTA in early actions. Now assume that causes Johnson to lose the speakership cylinder. 1-3, adjusted right-wing Republicans release a list of demands to give the speaker the gavel, giving speakers gavel an active force of vote on removing Johnson. Letter includes demands for Johnson demands to spending costs for pushing Biden's administration and capital policies. All reforms, including FERC, are highly partisan. Pesca, the 24 FERC's reforms together by severe opposed states legal challenges, expected transitions to come out of the politicized spending. AG's sort of letter opposing Congress said minimal problem that progress and transitions to partisan divide in along Democratic Republican lines, utilities, blocking similar reforms in Congress versus trying to bring about a change in the mix of resources as transition. The planning rule is a factor for more renewables will concede say no from the 2C on the NGA Category 1 issues. That is politically controversial even if agencies Republicans be tied to the plan. Despite agencies Christian 2013, Republicans blasted transition costs and leading states having to shoulder transition lines to lead coastal cities and no actual benefit of federalizing the grid system. They socialize the cost actually for the G&T facilities. Now the internal defense flip in the 2C and unwarranted one evidence. The 1C evidence says that tax cuts are necessary to free up capital for the commercial space sector, which is the 1C evidence that's literally trying to die, which it did above. Now the uniqueness of their evidence system 1-3 obviously be for real. The Sylvester evidence also does not say that the bill will not pass. It just says that there will be fights. The plan is an example of that, but all those things are pressed into our evidence. Unity is key. Shall listen now. 121 says the Senate Republican agencies agree to move Trump's agenda on in one bill. The parties working in unison. Both chambers are no working. The president is only working on constitutional action case. Unity. The Republican is excited. Trump's ready. He's meeting with leadership and ready. Trump emphasizes needs to stay unified as a wrangle that's the majority with no room for error. Procedural differences will hold up passage. Stancy 127. Congressman figure out one bill or two bills in this matter. Trying to work out the end results in the same. We have a chance to win as long as we stay united. Now the crisis advantage that is that always that turns the case. Holland has misunderstood and drops one of the link arguments as of the 1C. First, it always have actually nuclear war is unthinkable because it turns holds impact, prevents rational combat escalation. It's accountable and solves their impacts every nuclear country. No, so they can't win because of strike stability. The plan flips that which causes insiders and the arms race slashed out, escalate or miscalculate that unleash instability at every time. That's the miscalculate evidence. Second, it turns against reduced feeling. Foster stability prevents exactly because war is unthinkable. That's key to every international response to warming terror prolif. Kai 19 star. So also characterize their convention defendants and commentators such as interest such as response to terror and prolif AI climate change, unit defenses growing test up, can be maintained because of mutual vulnerability nature, and the confront common challenges, terrorism is existential, to rest 21, if Afghanistan feel worried, Al-Qaeda can make a comeback, emerging act, cyber and AI place on president power in the hands of terrorists, if innocent weapons for applying power and accessibility of dual use tech is one reason the stress of civilization lasts, and human extinction is higher than ever before. Prolif is extinction, Bardo, the 22 proliferation method promoting peace and not to defy us at all, and authorized nuclear escalation or nuclear terrorism spreading nukes, and drastic increase chance of unwanted destinations that are chain of US. There will be no return now. Uniqueness. Stability is secure now, but it's on the breakdown. Technology is capable of undermining any nuclear system and accelerating responses. The increased mistrust and capability that undermines second strike, that's all evidence. There are two frames. A is speed. Argument is not that AI will never be integrated, which answers the 2C. Inevitably, argument. Rather, that increasing the speed literally increases risk because it outpaces regulation and perception of stability. The only relevant issue is whether offense outpaces defense too quickly. B is uniqueness through the link. Developments now are constrained and augmented by regulation. Only evidence is the yes. Pursuit of arms races triggers worse effects on stability than status quo alone. Arms races are not yet inevitable. It is probable. 19. Arms race is not inevitable. New arms race reverse the trend, so fewer weapons to bring. Accidents and escalation we do. I'm nothing ahead of the race, so we live different by developing non-nuclear tactics. Gain advances without nukes, like enemies to highly distant was new manufacturing. Arms race seem probable, like it more dangerous now. The China inevitability argument they never achieved text AI supremacy wrestling. 24 slowest voice in terms of stability. There's gap between prediction and capabilities. Accident attack, but majority of accidents believe was appears to have Chinese scholars. Deficiencies, intelligence is infancy. Scholars shows and notes issues with the AI that hinder application data, cyber costs, and testing. External evidence, industrial conceits, hamstring China's development. China in all 23 semiconductor industry research produces chip starts behind US only. And the 3 build with Chinese chips, pessimists about academic outlook hammers. AI startups out there and startups out there overseas and the sell international LLMs that were for China century LLMs not even less than constant 10 20 batteries. And the functionally such receiver applications for instance. The companies choose conservative approach, but their developments are more constrained by regulations than ours. Turner in all 23 Americans have history of overestimating car of competitors estimates and there's so many officials that make policy on most of that which were fictional around the same side is not determined AI risk. The US regulations the area the US falls to be falling behind risk. No China's regs built on existing rules. Now the 2C the arguments are non-starter. The first argument is the inevitably argument which I answered above. It's not a question which I answered above. It's not a question of inevitably, but rather speed framing it. The next argument is that the next argument is that China is integrating now. It doesn't matter if China is integrating AI now. Our argument is that they can't, which is the uniqueness stuff I did above. And they say that AI does not assess strategic stability. Their evidence is from 2018. It's even new advancements, which I'll answer on the link debate in a second. But which I'll answer on the link debate in a second. It also doesn't assume that AI is arbitrary. First of the link, which is the second part, they say that no one would let AI control their nukes. That is not about the impact scenario to this said. It's not about literal AI control of nukes, but rather destabilizing the ability to second strike. The Johnson evidence is the link. Improving resilience makes deterrence too good, which causes the lack of secure second strike. The Roberts evidence is nothing. It is a word salad. I don't think you can explain it back in the post rounds. Now the link evidence. Now the link. Quick AI integration. Got strategic stability. 1 is perception. New developments are proceeding to fast, which causes serious operations. Split fog war in arms race. That alone turns the case that causes unilateral Russia and China development to response without regulation. Second is capability. A prevent second strike by tracking submarines fighting conventional silos enabling missile defense. Third is technical failure. In the process of integrating AI miscalculates, triggering early warning systems enabling the adversarial hacking is succumbs to deliberativeness, which is the solid evidence. 4 is trust limitations. Ability success cause uniform automation bias. Then unleashes AGI that surpasses human intelligence. Trust in the 20 AI enterprise competence second strike and the ability to control escalation AI surpasses human intelligence. Empathy and optimize goals with unexpected outcomes. There is an agreement on the student's decision makes the impacts to NC. They're not be delegated humans are slow to trust as reliability improves. Propensity to trust increases even when the suggested judgment is correct replacement for adequate supervision. And once AI demonstrates capacity to engage situations when it's become predisposed to students as superior. That is an expert student always 16 bomber. Bombin 22 for future tech enables a large scale the fact that evolution pace. The success in the learning about efficient and negative word signals are used for tech. Run simulations of minds that suffer and run simulations to improve knowledge of psychology. Simulations being used to retain team with causes serious suffering people. Enjoy the interface and execution Twitter. In the game such could be a potential X risk. They just dropped the defensive portion of the data machines. Even if we don't cover the term, it terminally solves the first advantage. Now the Asia expert scenario is actually 0. 1 is unclear how the S solves it, which was processed because they have said they increase efficiency of LNG allocations, not the net level of exports. So when you see cross-sex is posturing they have 0 evidence that the plan would increase the commercial value of LNG, which is necessary to solve the internal link. Second is that the status quo stalls. Their evidence is a Biden pause, which was lifted. Trump has unleashed LNG and opened new pipelines. And their evidence does not assume. Now the manufacturing scenario makes no sense. 1 is that the turn solves the terminal because nukes are all that matter in the context of deterrence. Second, manufacturing is not giving the TAB. Academic strength is a small factor in the power balance. The capable evidence doesn't matter if it's old because it has prediction value. Third, above they've considered that Asia renewable will solve the Reynolds evidence estimate in Asia has collapsed as renewables have increased, which proves that there's no need for LNG exports to stabilize the region. Now the reliability advantage. The entire advantage makes no sense. 1, there's 0 break for the impact. Peppers are rampant. This is not novice level debating. It's just that you don't have evidence post 2018 that says that there is means and motive to attack now. Every internally the red states empirics of good feelings attacks. Each of those are reasons why it wouldn't be catastrophic. They said the question that's quote single figures, which means all thermos are 0. Second, there's no internal link. There's not evidence. And it says that the use of gas to stimulate the grid fields because of lack of forecasting and data sharing, which the plan cannot overcome. Third, I'll give this to Raleigh. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. You good?
Mm-hmm.
regulations are solving or impacting the status quo?
Just like Latin AI regulations on the military, they're not quickly developing tech, which are uniqueness arguments you spotted.
Okay,
Easy.
what do those regulations say?
I mean, we don't have to like drop exact lines from regulations.
Well, I'm
We've
not
also-
asking you
we've
for
also
like the
made an
code of
argument
federal regulations. I'm just like, what do they do?
I mean, they constrain integration now.
How?
I guess, like, our argument is just that if we keep the pace of AI integration in the military slow enough, then the military will have time to adapt in response to that and make sure that they're not doing things like integrating it into
but
NC3,
here's my
etc.
question.
But our
You
argument
said
is also
you said the military is regulating AI uptake now. Our internal link to this advantage is we make the domestic AI innovation ecosystem better. Why does having better tech overcome the existing regulations that are like, you can't put this shit in NC3?
okay. Well, I don't think those regulations exist. Probably, did you?
Well, you said they exist.
Like, I mean, there's no. I'm not saying that there are like strict regulations by the
So then
government
how
that
is
are
your
like
impact solved
statutory.
now?
But rather, it is well. Okay, I'm gonna start by prefacing this with the fact that the 1AC made the uniqueness argument for us that AI regulation and integration into the military is constrained because you made the argument that high electricity prices constrain it. So even if you win that like regulations or whatever aren't effective, it doesn't matter because you made the argument that it's structurally constrained, and we said that is a good
we
thing.
said it constrains innovation in AI, but like,
Yeah,
Why-
innovation in AI is bad. That is the term.
The argument about regulation is that the AF's AI development is too fast for regulations to keep up.
Yeah.
It's integrated too quickly. We don't know how to use it. It will cause China to fear because we aren't regulating it.
so then
Booming
the
animation
next
back,
2EC
that's
argument was either the US does it or China does it. Why won't China do AI uptake?
Well, I read 3 cards that says they can't achieve
Right,
AI.
so I actually want to ask about the first one of those. It
Okay.
says, other scholars also note technical issues with AI that hinder their military application both in China and globally, and then lists perceived barriers like trustworthy AI, data, network and cybersecurity, sensors, communication technology, standards and testing and evaluation. That card is not just about China. That is like, it would be stupid to put this shit in your military. How does the turn overcome that? Or like, why does the plan cause that?
That is our argument, but the
That's
plan
not
has
your
spotted that it increases AI innovation in a way that is dangerous. The top of the Brasnik evidence says, quote, there's a significant gap between predicted future capabilities and extant tech. The majority of defense experts believe that the US appears to be ahead of China regarding the military use of AI. Then it lists a ton of deficiencies that might be applicable globally, but are primarily applicable to Chinese AI. This is also terminal impact defense to the case, so I don't understand.
Globally does not mean the US can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, we've read cards saying the US could.
Okay,
There's other countries besides
why
the US.
does the plan cause Republicans to backlash against Johnson? Why couldn't Johnson just be like, this is a FERC thing, like fuck the FERC?
Because you've dropped the 1NC link evidence that any form of climate policy means that Republicans perceive Johnson is going back on his promise.
But
to
why?
eliminate
Johnson
green
isn't
energy
making
and
the
environmental
Republicans
regulations.
do the policy, so his promise is consistent.
What do you mean?
He's not making Republicans vote for it, so his promise to not do climate policy in the House
Sure,
stays.
so we've read link evidence about agency backlash in the context of FERC, but it still gets pinned on Johnson because of the climate policy argument that we've made about how it's tied to him in the 1NC.
Okay, I sent them over.
We'll take a second just because I want to send them out of stock.
I'll tell you exactly what to read.
You're on this
Yeah,
one. And then I have this.
if you have time, just so we can call this cyber defense is fine.
Okay.
Those are cards.
Maybe not the big one.
Okay, well, ours. I'll start with the end of the 2NC. So reliability, then we'll do TNBI, T-adopt, states, ban security.
Liability, adopt, MBI.
NBI
Or
report.
MBI, adopt.
Yeah. States, ban security. Yeah, right where the turns you left off.
Give me a second to pull up the 2NC.
Wait, sorry, it's the advantage MBI adopt states
Ban security. Yeah. Okay, Armin's okay.
3 is recency. Every impact on this flows from 2021 and prior. Most of the early trends are negative all question because their predictions have fallen through grid resilient. One is ongoing transition. Renewable system clean energy mix is already supplying the grid and preventing blackout. The only carbon 2014 sites reliability is already being solved. 29% of the grid is renewables and batteries prevent intermittency. 2, the grid is resiliency. Centralized modernization making it more secure. Hundreds of thousands of systems guarantee power even in the worst case that's crack. Outages over the past 20 years have dramatically increased. Texas, Katrina, and Italy, and extinction. The girdle evidence answers that Dartmouth extinction card is a 2012 prediction about the risks posed by malware in the wake of a Stuxnet. It reflects a 2012 level understanding of cyber defense and infiltration of a few hundred generations at once. No one said any evidence of whatever happened since then. Emory inserts in blue and institutional failures. Argument is actually leading this for us because it proves international institutions checks they can constrain risk. Single failures cascade is unwarranted. It's true by Texas and Katrina. Worst case, why would a cascade worldwide cyber attacks are likely? Empirics for this reviews to Ukraine has not seen the scale. Their authors predicted millions of ransomware attacks to help improve. No actor will go any further than that. That's Joe Hansmeyer card. Yes, overhype. When you see evidence horrible, if Russia had the capability in the U.S. grid, they would have used it against a country they were actively invading. The clear evidence says that there's not any risk of a cyber attack to not escalate. Do you want me to read this card?
No, you're
Okay, T. Our interpretation is that absolutely either carbon text or carbon trade. One is limits expansive definition. The NBI opens the door to hundreds of individual distinct cases that can be applied to individual sectors and overseas with negative incentivized rush towards hypergenerics and interpretation that solves anything else otherwise doing research consider the quality, clash, and fairness spur. Unlimited definitions. NBI expansive definition open the door hundreds of individual and distinct cases that can be applied to individual sectors given the lack of other meaningful limiters. And the solution NBI is a choke point. You preserve a tenable role for the Gupta and Wong NBI's wide ranging mechanisms. Hundreds of individual instruments and fine sanction linked to CDC, laissez-faire approaches, consumer habits, private litigation, incentive tax, subsidy purchase property rights, and since we cover all price related regular instruments are harness and commercial actions and issue transport users and population at large. 2 is ground only limited debates into mechanism tax and capital trade reserve sufficient. Net ground those make the quality debate worse, forcing the active into putting a price on carbon guarantees and egg. Links to coordinates that include early econ electricity prices and exports that counter links to are limits of and telling the app topic debate. Any market reduce such even tiny market frictions that currently exist opens up against any tenable list of cases happens to find former as encouraging behavior through market signals, which includes subsidies and alone that breaks it up because the individual and distinct technology now becomes a topical. 1 AC is precise, the only exclusionary intent, and has limited command and control, but it places no restraint on what's included in the NBI category. It also greenlights effectually topical affirmance that makes burdens so they can say they claim an effect. And the plan is the hardest bargain, so not mandating it via the plan. The parts of Savins do not include proofs, limits, their term expands the topic of 4 types of mechanics, each of the individual substance of Savins, and 4 categories NBIs for environmental protection charges, changeable permits of market friction reductions, and subsidy reductions, and charge systems, which has 7 subsets, but none of which are mutually exclusive and are arbitrarily designed. Affluent charges, deposit refund systems, tax credits, cut subsidies, user charge, insurance taxes, sales taxes, the admin taxes, time as well. Identify 7 categories, charge system, and categories that are precise, nor mutually exclusive assignment in categories, vol charge, arbitrary first, affluent charges, second, deposit refunds, third, tax cuts, fraud, and subsidies, second, instead of charge system, first, user charge, second, insurance premium tax, third, sales tax, fourth, administrative charges, and TPS, which is 2 major subsets, credit programs, and capital trade tabs on the programs are the 2 basic types of credit programs, capital trade systems. There's also more of the subsets of reducing market frictions at the stop cutting right. Before the article continues to stop what liability rules, information requirements, product legal requirements, reporting requirements that certainly limits price signals alone are merely changes in market prices that result in political, economic, or any host of factors that their short turns the topic into effects, topicality, turmoil, roy, and no date price signals, the info market generation regarding supervision price signal for the changes in market prices may be the indication of future price signals based on economic political conditions determined by consumer confidence, inflation rates, unemployment, wages, foreign currency exchange, and other data. A case list of their inter proves that 1 and the other just solves inflation, like reducing spending, raising non-energy taxes, or investing in labor productivity will lower the cost of capital for clean energy products. We face higher upfront costs than entrenched fossil fuel firms. 2, holding oil reserves that increase fossil fuel prices make renewable energy more cost competitive. 3, reducing foreign exchange operations would lower import costs, speeding up renewables as they are often manufactured abroad. 4, investing in renewable supply chains would lower the cost. Davins also goes on to list subsidy reductions as the 4th type. 7 and 1, reducing number of subsidies final category. Market basis or government subsidy reduction. Subsidies alone unlimited laying enforcing every government action on the economy creates a distortion in anything government does. What dollar cost we call a subsidy term can be all embracing in every government action regarded as a subsidy. Their author admits the definition broad and casting large enough 7 and 1. I would define organization broadly and cast large and application of policy versus rule is extensive predictability. 1, they don't link their G evidences and this does not say the Savins represents the consistency of all the community in Moselle and Dynasty Hilarious conduct. The context is defining the decarbonization policy. That's the topic. FYI statements most may be qualified, but that's not make his interpretation debatable. That was all the evidence above. Savins lost for subsidies to be T, which flips predictably. It did that above debatably outweighs evidence of quality is not key to predictably large judge norms are putting a T to fertile disaster. Is sufficient to set a topic precedent, and if it is objectively the most desirable, it is predictable. There are infinite legal definitions of relative equal quality precision first. Breaks model comparison, we solve it. Winning and dice prove that their evidence is not the gold standard. Any definition somewhat arbitrary and predictability is insoluble. After creativity is wrong. They just basically asserted capital Babel as a single word. Do not let them explain what they meant. Harvard ruled the Copeland. Reading capital MES can be targeted as sectors P, C, E. And 28 for policies. Market-based interval college or harding around others hard to limited sectors that provides sufficient mechanistic flexibility that comports with their argument because our interpretive law subsets has also flexibility on where to enforce the tax. States have no authority over shipping, aviation, federal lands. Answer the only two C deficit each have a diverse set of advantages and allows for all them to solve all their stuff. Thematic coherence. One to impact this is functional limits in disguise. Two Marcus Bad said economic theory does not easily translate to debate argument functional limits. The overview proves that their interpretation aligns with limits, even though the limits exist, but those debates suck. And that's the impact of limits. Larger topics force and Russian generics. The mere fact that MES compete with command and control does not prove that they are attainable functional limits. Now, reasonable, they are not reasonable. That was the overview. The combination of all reasonable interpretation creates unreasonable version. Competing interprets cause race to the bottom to find the interpret that creates the best T cross-ups, non-states, kick it, terms of nesting combination condo. One neck flag, recency, specificity, and indivisible, limited stock machine, make debate, structure the app, two app, condo, appendix, meaning mixed space, pivot on the neck to show three logic, economic, world wars, and so three average for four opportunities, makes debate, hard for the app, is slowly split, resolved in a fiat, five, elimination, multiple, opposite, experimentation, this two, cannot solve, undivided, condo, disguise, two, is no force, price, which is bad, three, excuse, inevitable, bad, count, one, kick it, purpose of nesting combination, security, save, purpose of nesting combination, no offense on it.
Member.
reliability. TMBI. Tax cuts. States.
One second. Sorry, I'm just opening it. Okay.
At the job, the impact of China tech wars, yes, escalation perception of an AI tech gap causes the US to retaliate with sanctions to start a tech war that affects China's security sphere and causes escalation in Taiwan as retaliation. So that's the Yoshun evidence also dropped that deterrence is key to technical Taiwan and Russia and Iran. Escalation in industrial strength is key. It makes conflict resolution mechanisms like diplomacy, credible and Johnson evidence. No, now the AI turned proper. One is no turns case, there's no stability. Now China AI is perception of gap AI causes escalation. The plan is key to parity. The no terror impact is impossible. Nuclear acquisition is difficult and because it requires significant expertise and nuclear security is resilient. No prolif acquisition is also difficult for the same reason. Also prolif, there's no incentive for prolif because the countries will not be able to deter other countries. No, there's not stability now. One is a speed war. That is wrong. The app doesn't make AI go faster. It permits it to go forward, but there's no evidence about how AI development would be premature or circumvent regulation. They say that there's development now that is constrained, quote, constrained by regulation. That proves that regulation now solves AI. There's no link that the app somehow overcomes those regulations. The app just makes AI cheaper, so regulation obviously solves that. If it solves AI in the status quo, they say China does not issue AI stability. That proves our argument about how 2AC5, which is that there's no AI miscalc. There's not a single military that is thinking about integrating AI into the military. It's slow walk because it's stupid. The tech isn't good enough to trust with the literal nuclear bomb, and you probably want real humans manning your world-ending devices. They run a card for us, Brexit 24. Bothers cause also no technology to AI that hinder other military applications both in China and globally for safer use of AI and warfare, include those related to trust with AI, data, Emory, cybersecurity, sensors, communication technology, standard and testing and evaluation. Their Rex card concludes the US has it to Toner et al. 23. Even here, most records are about shape that assume the FG drafted through firms for managing AI risks, right into guidance how to navigate multifaceted risk. States will not over-rely on AI for was 19. Conclusion, countries are being hyperless AI reach sensitive shows their impact on the war is modest. Countries will for political risk as the world big more myth from reality awareness for risk as well as desire for control of will lead to caution development to limit any potential career from being lost with the nothing. To resolve this risk exist laws make regulations are implemented and increase risk of cheating occurs. The land and evidence is also super good. It says and to drop the 2C6 that the AI is stabilizing and ensures second-strike algorithms improve accuracy and precision, which removes existing vulnerabilities about communications. There's no perception link. The plan does not create the perception of new developments. It just ensures that current AI is cheap. Technical failure and capability links are answered by no miscalc, no trust. The trust argument is wrong. There's no trust now, which is our land and evidence. S is bad. It's dumb. It's extinction. And then itself is tried to prevent it because we only die once. It does not solve the advantage if we win unity just because it proves that there's no stability now. Price strong manufacturing is a prerequisite. Price or reliability.
That's what the defense to the HRS manufacturers said.
My bad. Yes, the plan does solve. We don't need to increase level of exports, just maintaining the current exports. No stats does not solve their demand gaps now because there's renewable HS pursuing renewable transition, but is unable to maintain it without LNG. It does not turn to self manufacturing. The manufacturing speed down because there's no access to electricity. Manufacturing is not key. Yes, manufacturing is key. Industrial strength underpins the economy. Asian renewables don't solve because there's still demand gaps. Reliability. Concede no defense. We're not going. Or concede defense. We're not going for a T. Extend interpretation of MBI sectors behavior through market signals as the evidence of plan meets it reduces market friction by improving the efficiency of the electricity and gas market. The limit step 1 is that every example is unified by the theme of being based on the market. The smaller the app, the better the K link, and the bigger the ideological clash. I also get command and control with the market that to have like reconciliation 2. The K forces the app to have advantages big enough to solve the environment, which creates links to politics, econ, and energy. 3 states also checks preemption deficits are rare because states have done every app already. Washington has a carbon tax, California has a temperature, the renewable portfolio standard, and many have disclosure rules. The goal here should not be a TKO argument for the neg, but the generics are good enough to present controversy. They're good enough to present controversy. They say there are hundreds of examples. This does not assume a debate. All apps must be good enough to have advantages and functional mischeck. The ground stuff is wrong. Every app has to solve an advantage. It's not solve it has to go with the app. It's inherent. There's definition must be a unique link the app would have to scale up subsidies, transform the regulatory regime, etc. They say the plan is not FXT. All the group, other FXT arguments. The plan is mandating a change in market friction reduction because it increases the number of price signals presented to the market daily, which proves that none of their stuff about holding oil reserves or solving inflation applies. The subsidy stuff is wrong. It's not unique in states. Obviously solve that. They say 4 categories. That proves there is progress. There's only 4 categories to think about. They say there are different ways you can charge stuff. There's no distinct advantages based on that. There's not a difference between sales or administrative taxes. You should just chill out. RPS and system. Credit and cap and trade are the neg to that is the same as a carbon tax, so it doesn't explode limits. No subsidy reductions is not. It also doesn't explode limits. It's the same ground as a tax. As a function has the same effect. Extend to C2 after round. They reckon tax and permits this function just tax because cap and trade is just a more volatile version of carbon tax that makes for a year of no innovation still debates to the creativity outweighs the reason why we put MBS in the red rather than just listing tax and trade because there are many less developed MBS in the literature that must be explored. Market literature now is oversaturated with tax and every past climate topic is focused on it. There's no point in question the arguments are innovative because we just be parroting already well developed arguments to Tracy during predictability. We only have to when our interprets predictable enough afterwards our offense choose yes predictable. The G evidence does say Stabbins is academic consensus. He invented the term Rosa. That'll 19. The term MBS origins of Stabbins described by Harding Markets achieve gold, hardest markets which gold, they say sectors solve that doesn't solve at least their homes offense, which means it's bad faith concessionary grounds with an egg could just respond by running no sector subsets and debatability is enforced. 2 half things are not energy policies 3 only so many sectors with real advantage data centers shipping aviation everything else isn't real. They say they say no impact is personal speech. The blog obviously checks that and we're obviously checks that politics. At the top, the impact rate is relevant if we win no link because all that presumes the getting to the impact. Now there's no link. First, they drop that should is not immediate on the NGA counterplan, which plan happens after reconciliation. TKO no new answers in the tune are obviously persistent. Like the first stuff is insulated from Johnson's PC. It obviously doesn't interfere with Trump's ability to convince people to do tax reform. They say no on NGA was not about it being politically controversial, but the federal government being able to preempt the states. They say that Republicans are trying to plan. This card is about how Republicans have been busted for transmission costs on mansions bill. It is about a legislative bill. Republicans are not obviously not trying to plan the Tracy evidence says that the first it's insulated. Trump appointed a Democrat and they're dealing with that themselves. And transmission costs are not a controversial topic or not a hot button topic because no one knows what nominations means. The evidence does not say that there will be there's also no internal to solving solving space colonization. Their evidence does not substantiate that it's sufficient to solve space colonization just to invest in space. The threshold that is literally getting to the moon, which is impossible.
It says Biden tax increase is bad.
Yeah, it also says Biden tax increase bad, which is irrelevant to taxes.
Okay, 242 1 second.
Sorry, how much time?
242. Start. is T? Okay. Is everyone good? Very negative for a limited topic that preserves an equitable balance of ground. MBS must be cap, tax, or arbitrated. Try your for limits. Anything else causes the proliferation that I waste. Dartmouth's topic is totally unworkable because it allows for any affirmative that reduces work computers because of what you see. Totally unpredictable round to round. Teams will break new mechanisms, unleash intentionally related to the topic. Coming to reduce work computers machines. The negative is always structurally behind of their version of the topic. Unlimiting the topic to any mechanism over any geographic area will win. But the number of industries exceed a possible indication of the gas resulting in hypergenerics and making it unwinnable for the dead. They've conceded an impact turn to the long range in the 1 year about natural or functional limits on the topic, and an internal link turn to the offense that the 1 year is going for about innovation. Or there's a link turn to that because debates are only about if the debates are only valuable insofar as there is innovation. It must be reciprocal on both sides. They mean the negative innovation is impossible because they are structurally playing catch up, which steers their version of the topic. Limits subsume every other impact because debates start in the 1 AC as key. The ability to test the 1 AC that the magnitude of the limits, which means all their impacts are relatively smaller. Limits outweigh because it overstretch negative quickly devolves into hypergenerics and process and generic critiques, which is actually the argument that the 1 year is making for us. That I will definitely be behind to those debates which collapses fairness. History proves that limited topics are good. Healthcare and youth produce in-depth debates over policy topics. There's no other words in the resolution check, which is the framing issue for all of our arguments. MBI is the only term for the resolution. Clean energy will see lacks any conception of definition. Decarbonization is totally useless, which means that there's no frame for functional limits and they can't access all the things about how industry links, etc. are not because there's no meaning for clean energy, etc. The resolution routines that we do are not guaranteed to link unique to answer the 1 year arguments. Now, the rant about functional limits is incoherence. One, all those things is incoherence. One is they conceded that all of those things are bad. Obviously, there are infinite tiny tweaks that we can make to the topic if under their interpretation, which just allows us to harness market signals, which means that the negative will structurally be behind. But the negative will structurally be behind. So the first argument is that the topic is unified by themes, which means that there's bigger K links. This argument is made in bad faith. All of those critiques lose the creative permutation arguments, framework, or functionally intrinsic harm like ban in this debate, etc. The fact that they have made these arguments and forwarded them and said that the main counterplan, etc. are unwinnable proves that this argument is in bad faith. It's not a reliable functional limit on the topic. It is not reliable to sustain your debate. They say that the K forces people have advantages. What the fuck does this even mean? Obviously, you can just impact turn or go for framing, etc. It is not a reliable generic on the topic, and subjects are just diverse and move on to the K anyway. They say the state's counterplan check. The state's counterplan does not check because AS will always be structurally ahead of creating creative solvency deficits because they conceded that the teams could break new every single round with a slightly different mechanism, and the negative would always be behind, so they wouldn't figure out the trick of the act until the 2 AR was over. They say they ask if after inherent they need to scale subsidies. This is not true and also guaranteed by any terms that anyone has defined in this debate. There's no reason why clean energy policy requires the scaling of renewables, and there are tons of advantages that you can access based on harnessing the advantages of the market, which means that those links are not guaranteed. To the negative. Now, the framing issue for this is that they have a lot of defense to our limits theoretically, but they do not have offense that can structurally outweigh limits in the 1 year. The first argument is that I think that they're extending the reversibility argument at the bottom of the flow. They've conceded that there's no link because the Moselle evidence is precise. He's defining MBS in the context of decarbonization policy, but they've also conceded that stability and limits internal links to predictability. One, they've conceded that norms outweigh marginal definitional differences to some degree of unpredictability is inevitable when the resolution is chock full of words that are not terms of art. Voting on topicality to avert limits is absolutely sufficient to set a predictable precedent when the losses number 2 asks are viable and force committee consensus. The course of the topic proves the result is predictable because teams win must be compensated all the time, and many schools have stopped reading the question top class in favor of carbon tax. Second is that the most desirable definition is the most flexible. We T evidence here. Internally ask yourselves whether the definition is ideal for debate. The better access is predetermined preparation because an interpretation of the topic that includes any subsidies, etc. very well could be the most precise, but people wouldn't flock to the pace of debate impossible. Third is the offense must outweigh our intakes to their interpretation and prove that any definition is somewhat arbitrary. Predictably and insoluble. Limits must outweigh. You should ask yourself, would you rather a few teams lose a couple of debates on a slightly less predictable interpretation, or teams lose all the debates because the topic is structurally impossible to engage with? Now, the over-limiting argument. You should not be afraid of a topic that is tax and cap and trade. Kansas and Emory have read carbon tax virtually all year. They've lost very few debates. The Dartmouth themselves have a carbon tax act that they initially disclosed in this debate, so the argument that our topic is untenable is clearly in good faith. The Dartmouth arguments for the granularity tax and the implementation of the carbon change system prove the rate of how the tax is, how it's measured, how to evaluate offsets, whether derivative trading is allowed, are all fertile advantage grounds and disadvantage and counterfeit grounds. That alone can be there cannot be an overlimit because given that people spend their whole lives thinking about taxes alone, all their arguments about how that means that there's coherent functional limits are wrong because our functional limits are in the context of cap and trade and the context of cap and trade and carbon tax, and they don't have an explanation for why those functional limits would equally apply to emission under their topic. They say that we'll shift the goalpost and give her no T subsets arguments. No, you hold us to this interpretation and hold them to their interpretation of the model. You should not vote on theoretical things that happen in future debates. They say the app innovation argument. There's obviously just not a total impact. So this explained in the 1 year. They say market literature is oversaturated in the sense of what is the impact to that? They conceded that limits turn for the next effectively decay to the app, and debates should not just be a monologue where the one is gets to say whatever they want. That is theoretically innovative. The neck has to go for the cap gate every fucking debate. They say Afghans captured carbon X means that there's no innovation. That's wrong. They conceded that there is tons of advantage grounds. You can read funding leadership. You can read leadership, the green hydrogen, climate, etc. Warming should structurally elevate. And he just said on the topic anyway. So that is sufficient affirmative grounds. Now, lastly, I don't think they have any other offense besides nitpicky things on the flow. I'm going to answer the limits defense a little bit more because it just proves that it has no way. Markets bad is not a debate. Are the only possible interpretations of this system is kind of what chooses to ask the find market signal. Keywords, those are pretty easy to find. Limits is usually huge to ask. Teams are guaranteed to find a way to be under control. Kind of like politics, econ, and energy. They said stone check tiny market. Friction reductions, axioms can read tiny agency memos that really provide quote information to the market. That's what they did in this debate, and then they claimed that there's no chance of politics link because of it, which obviously proves it is under their model. The case pushed in the 1 in R. Whereas none of these asks had distance. All asks needs advantages is not responsive. These asks have advantages, reducing inflation, altering the exchange rate, supporting supply chains, plenty of advantage on the neck. It's not the same. We're part of links to stable mechanisms of a carbon tax or cap and trade. Is there anything else I need to say? They don't have offense. There's not a terminal impact to anything they've extended. There is a terminal impact to limits. They have a little bit of defense to limits that we've answered, and we've internal linked to every other impact in the one year.
Yep. 315.
That is it.
Affirmative innovation and creativity outweighs. Their interpretation makes the open opener and the NDT sound the exact same. It is a harken back to the nukes topic when the best 1AC was the one that got broken round 1 of Northwestern with a crisis stability advantage and a China advantage. On this topic, that is the trade advantage and the climate advantage for the big carbon tax half. That is so boring and means that our files do not evolve over the course of the season. That is the thing that we take away from debate. It is the thing that makes debate unique relative to classes or other academic activities. That is that it drives us to research. The competitive incentives of debate and the fact that we all want to win encourages us to explore breadth and depth of literature, which encourages us to learn more and go sort of in depth in ways that we do not in our classes. And the things that we talk about when we talk about the values of debate and things like job interviews, etc., are that it gives us policy education and encourages innovation and creative research. Think of the sort of benefits that you take away from debate that are distinct from anything else, and then think about if the debates over the course of the entire season all sound the same, whether those benefits are taken away. They drop that we did not write the tax and trade resolution because we wanted explicitly to preserve affirmative creativity, to dive into the mechanics of market-based instruments. Creative houses like this one encourage the breadth of research into clean energy policies. They drive research and argumentative innovation over the course of the season, which ensures the debates get better, which is the only terminal impact to all of their arguments. Our argument will be that debates are better under our interpretation because the neg always has something to say, but ensuring the debates get better over the course of the season is the reason that we're all here, the reason that we show up to multiple tournaments. That outweighs because competition drives research practices and the ability for the affirmative to innovate and then the neg to innovate in response. Is the sort of dialectical process that actually makes debate interesting. Now, our defense to their argument is that the division of controversy is the affirmative says markets good and the negative says markets are bad. If we wanted the topic to be the affirmative should solve climate change, we would have written it as bad. That would have sucked for the negative, but markets good, that is a deep controversial literature. Our vision of the topic is that the affirmative has to find a market key warrant and the neg gets to draw on lots of authors who say that we should do command and control or have a planned economy instead because those are better at mitigating environmental harms. Even if Emory or Michigan wants to go for planned focus on the firm double mind every debate, one, they should get good. It should encourage them to learn how to go for critiques on the negative because those authors do disagree with the plan, the statement of the plan, and the links to the plan, which means they beat framework arguments, and the alternatives can actually fiat material action, which means that it is better than the critique debates that they are sort of characterizing on making a caricature of on the policy side that manifests in the command and control counterpoint and clever dissats to use of the market, like for example reconciliation or reverse spending, which we have been clearing house on, that locks in negative ground and guarantees critical links to the plan. What is the market key warrant for reduced subsidies for one specific power plant? The counterplan to shut down that power plant is a crush. The negative will tell you that there will not be a dissat, but our interpretation encourages negative creativity with disadvantages like reconciliation, reverse spending, etc. And you should remember that debates are evaluated through offense, defense. So if you break a small, squirrely affirmative that clearly loses the state's counterplan or the command and control counterplan, the dissat does not have to be big, and it is good to force the negative to think on their feet. Most of their arguments are the affirmative breaks new. If the affirmative breaks new, shut down a specific power plant affirmative, it is good for the negative to have to contextualize their generics. They should be able to identify why the 1AC is silly. That is the sort of critical thinking and portable skills that debate actually teaches, and no one is breaking those affirmatives because they would lose to counterplans and disadvantages because the risk of assumption deficit would be so low that they can always go for things like politics and write sort of creative generics versus those strategies which sort of checks their limits arguments because they are empirically disproven. There is a reason that the topic is not totally exploded so far, and it is because most of those affirmatives are bad. Now, importantly, I'm going to flag at the top that our interpretation does not allow the affirmative to argue that they, for example, reduce inflation, etc., because our interpretation is that market friction reductions have to be a fiated mandate of the plan. The plan mandates that there is an increased number of sales between energy generation and electricity demand in the day, which is a market friction reduction, but just causal advantages about doing something to the economy are not, which means that the negative always has guaranteed ground, and they drop that affirmatives like subsidies are just the inverse of a carbon tax, so the carbon tax neg still applies. Now, importantly, there is also an important argument about the scale of the affirmative. If the advantage is small and squirrely, you should be able to re-highlight in the 1AC, etc., and have good critical links, etc., but if the advantage is big, which the affirmative always wants to be, because per their argument, climate is a very good impact on this topic, then that links to things like the energy mix dissat, the oil dissat, etc. This topic should not be about ancient counterplans and politics, which they drop as a consistent thematic theme throughout the debate. It should be about whether we should decarbonize through the market, which guarantees the most counterplans, and if the affirmative wants to solve a big impact, it will inevitably link to decarbonization and clean energy policy, which guarantees that the negative things like the oil dissat and the LNG dissat. Just because we broke a creative affirmative that has some turns to those things does not demonstrate that it is impossible to be negative, which would be the threshold for voting on topicality. The negative is not always structurally behind. Importantly, the limits overview is mostly about geographic areas and industries, which they also link to because they said that clean energy policy can allow market subsets, which means that there can be limits explosion under their interpretation as well. For example, with subsets of taxes and trades, the innovation is debate is valuable if it is reciprocal on both sides, but our interpretation is that the neg should innovate in non-market approaches and market-based dissats. Limits should not subsume everything. Our interpretation is reasonably limited because it is thematically coherent by a market's bad theme. History proves limits good. This is totally laughable. The healthcare topic is a community consensus that everyone everyone hated it because there was only one case, and which meant that the opener and the NDT sounded the same, and research did not evolve over the course of this season, which is the thing that we get from debate. The clean energy policy and decarbonization guarantee links to energy mix, etc., even if there's not a definition of them in this debate. An affirmative that plainly did not do those and just reduce market friction and had nothing to say about the environment would not be topical, which means that the affirmative always gets energy mix disads. The K-links are in bad faith is just Emory posturing because they like to go for plan focus, and the counterline is command and control, and not everyone goes for the permanent line, especially when K links to the plan. The state's counterline is also a sufficient functional limit. Affirmatives breaking new is inevitable under every topic, especially under their interpretation with subsets, but there is no sort of Fed key warrant for states doing things like because states can obviously do things like subsidies, etc., which limits most of their arguments, which means that it is tired to make the debate interesting. I'm not going for predictability, but Kansas and Emory are successful because they are good, but that topic is boring and stupid. It's not just about what we win and lose, but what we take away from debate, and there is not sufficient mechanism diversity, which is demonstrated by how no one has written those advantages in the status quo. Good debate.
Oh yeah, no hate or anything, but yeah.
Frozen no one.
Unfortunately, Claire and Jared has to run. Yeah, tell her no rush, by the way.
Well, hearings are in 15 minutes.
Oh, damn, for real?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not good.
I don't know that it's explained.
I'll let you sit down and talk to you. This is a really good debate. I voted negative. I conclude that limits outweigh term F-ground. I agree with the negative that the impact from F-ground is a bit not terminal, and I think it's sure government limits explosion rather than a boring topic. Holland, to be fair, your 2 AR was very good, and I thought it made sense. I just can't clock it from the 1 AR if I'm being honest with you, and I think it needs to be a bit more explicit in the 1 AR for me to sort of give you all this stuff. And I think you also need to maybe, the impact of being boring is kind of ethereal, just overarchingly to me. So I struggle with that. Next, I think they have a large portion of offense that your model debate would make it untenable for the negative win. I think this devolves in hypergenerics, that the only stable link ground is from MBIs. I think this is because clean energy policy and decarbonization are both not terms of art. And I think that this puts a negative structure behind it. I also think they have game on the fact that they encourage stronger F innovation in their interpretation of debate, because apps have to innovate against the negatives sort of core generics. And I think that F ground is solved by a wealth of advantage ground, and the fact that limited topics are good. The example being the healthcare topic. I don't know if the healthcare topic was good, and I don't really talk to people about it just because I don't care. But I think that limited topics are beneficial for the app as well. I think that a model where people just read carbon tax and cap and trade is probably good. Furthermore, there's an argument about stay-ins, including subsidies, which doesn't seem to be dealt with given 2 AR explanation. And while states may be able to solve, I don't know how they're able to sort of generate deficits. I don't think that negatives can get it against small squirrely apps. And I think the argument about being able to re-highlight it and not taking it out precludes that the negative is already behind in the debate if they're having to re-highlight it and sort of take it out. So, and I'm also less convinced by the K checks the app as well. While I agree with you that, no hate to Emory, maybe you'll like to go for perm and framework and stuff like that, there are judges that certainly won't vote for the K, which means it's not a core negative check. So I think a model in which apps read markets bad, and the negatives read markets, app reads markets good, negative read market bad, is probably a worse model debate and puts a negative structure behind. Is there questions for me?
Did you think about, that makes sense. Did you think about okay, I have 2 questions. Did you think about command and control as a unifying generic?
Yes, I did. I still think that it puts the negative behind in the sense that the app can still generate a lot of deficits against it, and also the fact of the matter is if there's a small and squirrely app, they may not be able to solve it and things of that nature.
Sure. Okay.
If that tracks.
Yeah, it does. I think the thing we wanted to say about that was which maybe should have been more of an emphasis of the 2 AR, but small squirrely app, also true under their interpretation.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it was kind of not super there in the 2 AR, wasn't as big in the 2 AR as it could have been. What I maybe think the 1 AR could have done, strangely enough, was low-key Raleigh the condo 1 AR was not it, dog. I think maybe you could have extended condo and then just spent maybe 4 minutes on T, weirdly enough, because I think I'm probably pretty good for not answering condo, answering condo with 30 seconds. And all that nature, and then you could have just bounced your T and sort of forced them to go for it and things of that nature. I also think really enough on substance you should have impact turn prolif in the 1 AR as well. I don't know, sometimes I like to be messy, that's kind of obviously a messy 1 AR, but whatever, and things of that nature. That would be the one comment I give for the 1 AR, and or just be a little bit more explicit on sort of the off-ground outways and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, I had a question about that. So do you think the part that was missing is just the outweighs part?
Just the impact stuff and things of that nature. And honestly, I think maybe you could just be limits explosion good and stuff like that. I feel bad voting against y'all because authentically I'm a 2A. So that's why I'm girl, that's why I sat so long. I was I do not want to tell them that outground is not outweigh. But I was I feel you can maybe do that, be subsidies are good, apps should be able to do it and have a larger impact in the 1 AR and stuff like that. That's kind of my take.
My other question is, it sounds like you thought most of the stuff was neg anyway, but do you think that the 2 AR would have been helpful with reasonability?
Yes, yeah, most definitely. I thought that there was a line that I thought about, but I was I cannot explain to Emory how reasonability would sort of do that. But I thought that maybe it was a little bit present, but it wasn't large enough. But I think reasonability could have been a thing.
Yeah, okay. Especially, just because that was my thinking, was I sat down after the 2 AR and we like diverged a little bit, maybe on our defense, but like I felt pretty reasonable about it.
Mhm.
And I think coupling that with like, if our topic is fine, don't death penalty the app would have been
Oh,
helpful.
most definitely. I thought that was true.
Okay.
Good luck, Nora. I hope you feel better as well. Or do you have more questions for me?
I
Sorry
have-
that I jettison, but
I have one more.
yeah, totally.
What do you think is the line to draw between like limits explosion good and it wouldn't be totally just like untenable for the ag? Like, should we say like limits explosion? Like, yes, there will be subsidies, but that's not.
I think the 2AR line about how like limits explosion is good for negative research and creative disads is particularly good, but I can't clock it in the 1AR if I'm being honest with you. So like that would be probably a good argument, is just impact turning that. I also think the functional limits, maybe just, I think honestly the case stuff could make sense to me, and you could just be like, dude, who gives a fuck if judges hack against it? I like don't think that's as true as it was maybe like 5 years ago, so I do think most judges are good for case on the negative these days. At least in my humble opinion. So I think you could like, that could be the functional limit you go for. I also think other, like oil probably links to everything.
Right.
Probably links to everything.
Okay.
And squirrely apps like don't have solvency advocates usually.
Right.
And stuff like that. Like there's no solvency advocate that says like withhold fossil fuels to make renewables cheaper or whatever. I think that would be the one, and that should probably be present as well.
Okay. And did you end up picking like? Because I was thinking to approach that category of just like do random things to make stuff cheaper. Is like that is not included under interp because our interp is like you must mandate like a reduction in or increase in price signals or reduction in friction. Did that make sense?
Can you rephrase that, please?
Yeah, sorry, that was confusing. Our interp is that you have to mandate a reduction in market friction. So, for example, the plan mandating price signals becoming more frequent, which is different from just like, oh, we should reduce inflation or.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that did make sense, but I didn't like think about it too much. So yeah, that makes sense in a vacuum. Yes. Any questions for me?
I think we're good. That makes sense.
Good luck with the rest of the tournament.